World War I is considered the first major international conflict of the 20th century. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary, and his wife Duchess Sophie in Sarajevo on June 28, 1914 led to the start of war that began in August 94 and continued for 4 years on multiple fronts. During World War I, the Allied forces of Britain, France, Serbia, and the Russian Empire, later joined by Italy, Greece, Portugal, and the United States, fought against the Central Powers, consisting of Germany, Austria, later Turkey, the Ottoman Empire, and Bulgaria. As the war reached a stalemate due to the costly battles and trench warfare, particularly on the Western Front, the initial enthusiasm of all sides for a swift and decisive victory gradually waned. The system of trenches and fortifications in the West extended approximately 475 miles from the North Sea to the Suez border, marking the boundary and defining the scope of the conflict for most combatants from North America and Western Europe. While the vast Eastern Front made the concept of trench-to-trench combat on a large scale nearly impossible, its dimensions were comparable to those of Western Front. Northern Italy, the Balkan countries, and the Ottoman Empire also witnessed heavy fightings, not only on land and sea, but also for the first time in the air. A pivotal turning point in the war occurred in April 1917 when Germany's policy of unrestricted submarine warfare pushed the United States to abandon its policy of isolationism and directly enter the war. Despite German successes, including the expulsion of Bolshevik Russia from the war in later winter 1918 and reaching the gates of Paris by summer, the combined forces of Allied armies managed to push back the German forces in the Marne River during the offensive. At 11 a.m. on November 11th, the battle on the Western Front came to a halt. The war that contemporaries referred to as the Great War had ended, but its far-reaching impact on international, political, economic, and societal spheres continued for decades to come. World War I stands as one of the most devastating conflicts in modern history, claiming the lives of nearly 10 million soldiers. This figure far exceeded the military casualties of all the 100-year wars that preceded, although the precise tally of casualties remains difficult to determine. Approximately 21 million individuals were wounded during this war. The immense casualties on all sides of the conflict were, to some extent, a result of the introduction of new weapons such as machine guns and the use of poisonous gases, as well as the failure of military leaders to adapt their tactics to the increasingly mechanized nature of warfare. The policy of attrition, especially on the Western Front, led to the loss of hundreds of thousands of soldier lives. On July 1st, 1916, the day with the heaviest human losses in a single day, the British Army suffered over 57,000 casualties in the Battle of the Somme. Germany and Russia endured the highest number of military casualties, with approximately 1,773,700 and 1,700,000 respectively. France lost 16% of its conscripted forces, the highest proportion of casualties relative to the number of enlisted soldiers. While no official institutions recorded that the exact number of civilian casualties during the war years, researchers estimate that around 30 million non-combatants lost their lives directly or indirectly as a result of the war. The toll of military and civilian casualties further escalated at the war's end due to the Spanish flu pandemic, considered the deadliest influenza pandemic in history. Millions of people were displaced or left homeless from their homes in Europe and Asia Minor as a consequence of this war. Financial and industrial losses, particularly in France and Belgium, where the battles were most intense, were catastrophic. What is your opinion about this unnecessary war? Thank you for being with us so far. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you are interested about information, wonders on our contents, Please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to be aware of daily content.